You're listening to the Seahawks Insiders.
At the goal line, at the one, the handoff to Walker. He goes left side, and he's going to get in. Touchdown, Seahawks!
Getting you ready for Seahawks football every Sunday.
Blitz is coming, throw inside. It's picked off. Leo Williams coming near side. He's running like a racehorse. He's at midfield, turns upfield, has blockers. Holy smokes, are you kidding? Leo Williams is going to take it in for a touchdown, Seahawks!
Presented by Delta, the official airline of the Seahawks. Now, here's your host, Jen Mueller.
We are broadcasting from the Seahawks podcast studio presented by Sony, an official partner of the Seattle Seahawks. Jen Mueller and John Boyle with you. And if it sounds like there's a little extra excitement in my voice, John, there most certainly is.
We can plan our falls.
We can plan our falls. I have to say that when it comes to NFL dates on the calendar, my favorite one by far is week 1. You're standing on the sidelines like national anthem plays. That's my favorite day of the football season.
Yeah.
A very, very close second is the day that they release the schedule. Yes, we have known for a long time who the opponents were, but you always want to know how it's going to stack up.
Where are you going to be when? Who, what are the matchups certain weeks?
That's right. When do I get a bye week? When do we play on Thursday? Very important things.
Exactly.
And what were your initial reactions when you saw the release?
Big picture, I like it as just like, it feels like a very fair and like pretty even schedule where you don't, some years you get that brutal stretch of like, 3 tough division games on the road in a 5-week span, or you play 3 teams coming off their bye week, or, last year we had the Monday, Sunday, Thursday, which was pretty tough on guys. There's really none of that this year. It's, you have a couple stretches with back-to-back road games late in the year, but overall it feels pretty balanced, and
that's the word. Yeah,
there's not a lot to complain about.
Yeah, I can find things to complain about.
Of course,
John,
you can
if we really wanted to. But balanced was absolutely the word.
Getting to Green Bay for a preseason game, we can complain about that. But
that is a little tricky.
That's a little
tricky.
Could we just
and
go to
LA?
LA?
It's a little humid. I know. I would love that, but that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's Green Bay is a legacy city.
Yes.
As I think about it. Right.
Yeah. Great place to visit, and
it is
tons of history. All that.
I will be saving up for beer and cheese. It's fine.
Yeah.
I know how to plan that out.
As one does.
As one does. Overall, big picture for this schedule, as John mentioned, it is really balanced. This is one of the years, though, that the Seahawks are going to play 9 road games, 8 at home. So that's a little bit different. The bye week falling right in the middle of the season. Mm-hmm. It's week 8. So again, to your point, perfect. And as it stands right now, you've got a Thursday night game in week 4. You have a Thursday night game on the schedule late in December. So you get those little mini buys. I know the guys don't really call it that because it is brutal on your body going in, but you've got a nice little break built in at the beginning of the season and towards the end of the season on that one. And I kind of like the symmetry of having San Francisco at the beginning and the end.
I do. Kind of a good test for both teams. Like, where are we in week 1 and where are we 17 weeks later?
Well, and it's the interesting conversation with San Francisco based on strength of schedule from opponents last year. Mm-hmm. Supposedly, the 49ers have the easiest schedule of any team in the NFL.
And part of that is them finishing in last place. So those like opponent games, they get what you would call a last place schedule. So some of the easier ones. But as we know, playing the whole last year's results game, it doesn't work because someone on the schedule, we can look at some of these late season games, you're like, oh, the Colts, the Panthers, these teams weren't that good last year. Like somebody, I promise you, in those last few weeks that we're looking at doesn't seem like a good team is going to be a playoff contender. And somebody that we think is really good probably won't be. That's just the nature of the NFL. There's a lot of swings from year to year. So trying to base it based off what we saw a year ago is always kind of a fool's errand.
Yes, and so much is going to happen during the course of the season. I mean, I'm thinking back to week 1 last year, and you never want to put too much emphasis on week 1, right? Because there's a lot of things that could happen. I do feel like there will be a little bit more pressure week 1 coming out of the gates with a division opponent. But last year, remember it was Denver and you're like, oh man, I don't know, it was a new quarterback. I don't know how that's going to play out. Turns out you hit Denver at the right time of the year because they got pretty hot there in the middle of the year.
They made the playoffs. And
Now, that game did not turn out to sink you in a division race. It was nice that you get the win, but also like that one, week 1 against San Fran, you're gonna need to jump on that pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to call any game like must win because You lose that one and you win a whole bunch of other ones, nobody cares. But anytime it's a division game, yeah, that's got that little extra meaning because it's not just, if you lose that game, it's not just you lost it. It's a division opponent, got to win on you. So, yeah, it's going to be a really exciting start. San Francisco's obviously a team that feels like what they did last year is not reflective of who they are as a team. And they want to come out and show that they're back. And the Seahawks want to come out and show that they're building off a strong finish to 2024 and even better than they were last year when they won 10 games.
So without going too much further in that division conversation, so it's San Francisco, it's Arizona. Those are the two division opponents before the bye week. Let's just take a look at the schedule overall. Right now, as it stands, 4 primetime games for the Seahawks, 2 on Thursday night, 1 Monday Night Football, 1 Sunday Night Football, with a huge caveat. There's a lot of asterisks on this.
Yeah,
I've got my sheet printed out.
From week 5 on. That's wild.
That is crazy. That is crazy. And so for as much as I think I know what the schedule in the fall is, we actually have no idea what's going to be happening.
We don't even know what day they're playing on in week 17 or 18. So
we do know that you're going to finish on the road with 2 road games. Mm-hmm. One of those, another cross-country road trip.
Would seem more daunting if not for the fact that this team went 7-1 on the road last year. And you think going east 10 a.m., I mean, you've been around this team long enough to know that was just a death knell.
Yes.
For years, it was... 4 10 a.m. games, you might win one of them. And now, going back really to like 2013, that's not been a problem for this team. They've got 5 on the schedule right now. That Carolina game that's TBD very well could be a 10 a.m. game. The Seahawks have won 19 of their last 24 games in that time slot going back to 2018. So that's not a problem.
Last year.
That's not a problem for this team anymore going east playing early.
Talk about going east. We are doing that a lot. Yeah. I mean, that was my initial reaction. I'm kind of looking at it, and I knew who the opponents were, right? But you kind of forget about it,
when
right?
You actually see it.
And then you start mapping this out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how much time are we spending on a plane? I can tell you, John.
How many miles, Jen?
31,302 miles.
That seems like a lot.
That seems like a lot. In fact, it is third most in the NFL.
Yes.
The only 2 teams who have more miles that they will travel are the Rams and the Chargers.
And they both play internationally.
That's right. They are going out of the country.
If the Seahawks had ended up going to London or Germany or anywhere else this year, Dublin, they'd be leading the way in miles again.
Yes.
It's what we get where we live. We're kind of isolated up here in what Matt Hasselbeck used to call South Alaska.
But that is true. And we have figured out how to make this work in the Seahawks' favor, as you pointed out. I'm looking at some of these opponents outside of the division that are going to be a nice little reunion, I think. Or maybe kind of, maybe it's not a reunion. Maybe it's just kind of like I
mean, fans like to call them revenge games, but
I don't know.
Tyler Lockett's one of those. He can't, he's too nice to have a revenge game. But
Bobby Wagner might have a revenge game. And not because he doesn't love Seattle, but that's the way he's wired.
I mean, that game he played for the Rams against Seahawks, that was the best game he played all year. But yeah, I mean, you get Bobby Wagner, you get DK Metcalf in week 2, you got Tyler Lockett when you go to Tennessee late in the season. You will see, who am I forgetting? Oh, well, Cooper Kupp and Sam Darnold will see their former teams this year. So kind of goes both ways. A lot of fun reunion games.
I kind of like it. We've got Tennessee November 23rd. Then it's back home, Minnesota. I really hope that Sam Darnold just channels.
There we go.
That's what I was looking for all season long at Lumen Field, what he did last year when the Vikings came to town.
Yeah,
that would be good.
He was awfully good in that game.
All year long. And your last division opponent game, it is San Francisco, but also you're going to play the Rams at home Thursday night, late December.
Yeah, going back to the conversation of every division game really counts, but a primetime game, week 16 against the team that won the division last year and, should very much be in the conversation this year. That feels like one that you can look ahead now and know is going to be big.
Well, and for somebody who's going to stand on the sidelines in those games, weather could definitely be a factor. December 18th in that primetime game, weather could also be a factor in San Francisco, the final game of the season. Outside of that, you shouldn't have too many weather concerns. Tennessee outdoors, that could be something interesting late November, but I don't really think Carolina could be cold, but you're not really looking at extreme weather like having some of those other ones in years
This
past.
right now is the difference between someone who covers the game on the sideline and in the press box. I'm like, oh yeah, I hadn't really thought of that.
Yeah. No, I'm always looking to see where are we when it is going to be cold outside.
It's true though. That's you ask players what they look at. It's like you want to know if you have Green Bay or Chicago or whatever on your schedule. You're like, okay, when is that game?
Yes.
And you hope it's not in December.
Yes, and you know which ones will really trip you up? Jacksonville and Tampa Bay. Because you'll look at those and be like, oh, it's fine. It might be a little bit cloudy. It might be a little rainy. Two of the coldest games I've ever stood on
The Jacksonville game in
sidelines.
was that 2016?
It was awful.
It was
where they
so
had
cold
to
there.
de-ice the plane when we left.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
They had to wait for the de-icer
yes,
to get there.
that was a whole big story.
That was a
I
good
know.
time.
So overall, we feel like this is a pretty balanced schedule.
Yeah. No, I just don't think, there's not a lot to complain about. You only catch one team coming off their bye. That's the Houston Monday night game. And even that, okay, they're coming off their bye, but with a Monday game, you still get one extra day rest. So there's mid-season bye, like we said, and there's not really a lot to look at and say, oh, the league really hurt you with that schedule.
You know what's interesting about that Houston game?
7 p.m.
It's 7 p.m.
Yeah.
I had to do a double take when I read that.
Yeah,
So it's
back
the
end of a
second
doubleheader,
game of
yeah.
a doubleheader. It is the latest game played in franchise history, which surprises me a little bit. I'm used to 7 o'clock baseball games, but
Yeah.
you're right. NFL games here just don't start at 7 o'clock because your viewership will have to stay up on the East Coast until midnight.
Yeah.
Right?
You figure that's probably a competitive advantage for the Seahawks because your opponent, for their body clock, that game's kicking off at 9 p.m. So, it's, might help you a little bit.
It could. Might help me get a little extra sleep ahead of that one. I don't know. Hey, if you are planning to go to any of the Seahawks games, home or away, you know what you might need? You might need some noise-canceling headphones, especially in some of those stadiums. I'm thinking the Rams. They really crank up.
They got a lot going on.
They got a lot going on. There's a lot going on, which is why this NFL season, feel every play, every hit, every moment with the Sony 1000 XM5 noise-canceling headphones, the official headphones of the Seattle Seahawks. With premium noise cancellation, you are in the zone. No distractions, just pure football. Whether you are in your living room or on the go, you will never miss a beat with Sony headphones. You know what I would like to use the Sony headphones for right now?
What's that?
To play the Seahawks schedule
It's
release
so
video
good.
over and over again. Oh my gosh. We have props
Can
today.
we get the
Yes.
shot? Yeah, we got props.
We
This
have
is
props
our,
today.
If you haven't watched the video, first of all, pause this podcast, go watch the video. It's amazing. Our creative team did some great work this year. Second of all, it has some action figures. It has a replica Kingdom bathroom for those too young or who did not live here. The Kingdom had.
Or who never went into the men's
Or who-
bathroom,
yeah.
to be quite honest with you, John. I mean,
Well,
there's a large segment of our listening
that's
audience
true. But one
who
of the
would never
best
have walked
features
into
is
a men's
this
bathroom.
beautiful circular sink that you stepped on a foot pedal to make go. That the women's had that too. But then the trough urinals, the overflowing garbage can. It's it's great. But yeah, go watch the video again. It's great.
You
A
know
lot of little nuggets in there.
You know what I'm actually laughing about? This feels a lot to me like the whole release video.
Yes.
I totally get it because it's also celebrating the 50th season of the
Yes,
Seahawks,
exactly.
right? So there's a lot
Connecting
of
with our
throwbacks.
history
Yeah,
a lot. Yes.
it's awesome. And here's what I keep thinking. How many conversations are you going to have with your girls explaining what exactly is in that video? Whether it's like the action figures or even like this is what a bathroom used to look like.
Yeah.
It's almost like describing what a record player was.
Yeah.
Like, why
Or a
would you have had
landline.
one? Or
A
like,
landline.
why would you
They're
even have
baffled when they're
one?
like, phones were attached to the wall. They're young enough. I don't know if they're going to drive. Like, think about that. We're getting off topic here. But like, their cars might just all drive themselves by the time they're driving.
Also, that could have gone a couple of different ways. You're right. They might not ever drive.
I mean, I feel like we're heading that direction. I'm going to make them drive. We have an old stick shift. I'm going to make them learn to drive that.
See, that's a life skill.
Yes.
That is a life skill. So we know where we're heading this season. We know that we are celebrating 50 seasons of the Seahawks. I am not at all going to try to predict outcomes.
No,
for
come on.
this.
Let's do wins and losses straight
I am not
down
doing
so people
wins
can
and
throw
losses.
it back in
We
your
don't
face.
even know who the quarterback is going to be for week 2 for the Steelers.
That's a good point.
That is going to throw off my estimation quite a bit, and then I'm going to be off track. What I'm going to ask is, do you have a favorite place that we are traveling to this year?
There we go. Shout out to Delta. You can book some travel with them if you want to go to any of these road games as well.
Yes. And just meet us up wherever we are going to be around town.
I will say Pittsburgh, underrated city.
Yes.
I think a lot of people just think the Midwest and don't get excited about it. But we've been there a couple times recent years, especially in September when the weather's good.
Yep.
You got, the river's right there. Unfortunately, the Pirates are out of town that weekend. I already looked that up because that's a great ballpark. But, Washington.
Yeah, that's
Great
the one I
city,
was
yeah.
looking at.
That's one to circle. So much fun to be had in that city. And if you're into history, obviously, so much history in that city. So that's a really good one. But yeah, that's I like getting on the road in general, seeing a lot of these different places.
I do too. And we spent time in Tennessee last year in the preseason, so I feel like I kind of got my Nashville fix. I can always spend more time there.
And I'll tell you what, I'd rather not be there in August. Like, we're gonna go when the weather's a little more bearable.
Again,
There's
you
a lot
hope it could be.
There was a lot of sweating last time.
There was a lot of sweating.
A lot of sweating.
I would predict a lot less sweating.
Yes.
On November
I'm fine if it's cold. Look, it can be cold. I'm fine with that.
Again, says the person who's not standing on the sideline during games.
I'm just picturing you going out on Saturday and checking out the town.
Yes, that's
I can put
true.
a jacket on.
But I do agree with you, Washington, because right now that's a primetime game, so you get all of Saturday to explore Washington. You get a little extra time on Sunday morning. You can watch a little bit of football, and then you head to the stadium.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be
until we get back. At
I
like
was
5
just
a.m.
about to say we're not even going to think of the other side of that one. And the folks at home don't care because we will have won, and it will be great.
Yeah,
and when you
they
win,
they don't care about our sleep.
they don't. They care. You care.
No,
I know that you do.
they don't.
I care about
My
all
own
of them.
children don't care about my sleep, so why would our fans? Clearly, based off the history of the years that I've had children, they don't care about my sleep. No,
Ungrateful.
they really are.
That is terrible. We are going off topic. We should just wrap up this
That's the
conversation.
best kind.
We should just wrap this conversation up. Look, we hope that you have marked this on your calendar, that you are going to join us for some road games, that you are planning your home tailgates. We are going to talk football the next time we join you for another edition of the Seahawks Insiders Podcast.